Hey there, friend. It's Tracy. I just wanted to hop on really quick. Say hello. It's January something. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can't keep up with the dates. But I was feeling a little bit like meh, about my some of my New Year's goals. And, like I'm like, I don't feel like working out today. It's cold, even though even though I work out in my house. Um, but I started to think a little bit about that, and I realized as I was kind of going over, I'm like, I'm going to go over, what we had talked about before the New Year's and setting the goals, and I realized I missed something. I missed something very, very important, and I wanted to make sure that I share it with you now. Because if you're like me and perhaps maybe you're already starting to get in the thick of it when it comes to motivation or lack of motivation when it comes to, I mean, maybe you're not. Maybe you're like, it's January and I'm still like, doing all the things. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're doing all the things and you're not like me. But if you are and you're starting to waver a little bit, I wanted to actually give you one more thing that I should have asked you to do prior to the new year, because I was coming into 2025 with a lot of excitement, not because 2024 was bad. I need to put that out there. Like lots of times you'll see the people coming into the new year, like, thank God that year's over. I didn't have that. 2024 for me was great. It was the year that I started this podcast. It's the year that you and I met on this podcast. It's the year that I started to just say the things that I wanted to say in terms of dog training. I wasn't, censoring myself as much. That's still a work in progress. I'm not gonna lie, but I wasn't censoring myself as much. I have really found a core group of people that I love to work with that inspire me every day to be better every day. And so it's been great. It's that part has been great. So it's not going into 2025 being like, whoa, thank gosh that 2024 is over. Not that at all. Um, but I do want to sort of keep on going with this momentum, because it's been really, really good. And so I forgot, I was remiss to tell you this one thing. It was something that I read in a personal development book. I'll share a little bit more about that a little bit later, but I wanted to share it here with you today because I think it's really important. So even though it's like in January, it's after the new year, I've kind of missed my kind of missed my mark with this. I thought I would hop on, give you an opportunity to maybe revisit some of those things before they completely diminish into the lost goals and dreams of 2025. So, uh, what? Let's just do this. Let's get into it. Ready to have a calm and peaceful life with your dog without the stress of those fear-based behaviors? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I've been there, overwhelmed by all the conflicting dog training advice and unsure of what to do next. But now I help dog lovers like you simplify your life with your dog by building confidence naturally, fostering trust, and addressing those fear-based challenges. So, if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners and let's get to it. All right, let's get to it indeed. Let's jump right into this. Now, if you have not had a chance to do the goal setting workshop, which was episode number 59, I believe, if you have not had a chance to do that, please make sure you do that. I want you to, there's a PDF that goes along with that you can download and to help you. It's all about finding your word of the year and then breaking down your big goal and all of that good stuff, regular goal setting stuff. But I was remiss on one point. So I want you to take this time to do this for me right here, right now, because quite often when I am coaching, when I am helping, my students in the Fearful Dog Fearless Framework student community, there is a huge component of the work that I do that is helping the dog lovers like you and me. And we're the hardest on ourselves. We really, truly are the hardest on ourselves. So it's easier for me. It's much easier for me to look into your life and help you and go, you're being too hard on yourself. Like, we need to let that go because we're going to beat ourselves up more than anybody else. And we know that. But part of my work that I do, part of the work that we do, especially if you're inside our community and inside the program, you know that I talk a lot about this idea that, it's really, when it comes down to it, the thing that's going to set you apart from, say, other dog owners that are struggling with their dog, that are just running through the motions of doing the training, is that we really take the time to look within, to look inside ourselves, to be like, I am really beating myself up. We are the hardest on ourselves. We have awful little voices in our head that tell us that we are wrong, that we've been doing it wrong. We feel bad. We feel guilty. I know you. I know your heart. I know in your heart, you just want what is best for your dog. But there is a little mean voice in the back of your head that's telling you all the things that you did wrong and how you messed up your dog and the things, all of that stuff. And so inside the community, we talk a lot about that. And I am just as guilty as anyone else. I am just as guilty as anyone else of having the evil voice that is telling me that I messed everything up. So we have to take a moment to look within ourselves, because we can get stuck in the shame and the guilt and the fear and uncertainty. Like, we can get stuck in that. And when we are stuck in that, we can't possibly show up for our dogs to help them the way that we want to help them. And so I was thinking a lot about it. I work on a lot of personal development stuff myself. I was listening to an audiobook. There's a great audiobook called The Gap and the Gain. And one of the concepts within that book, I thought so much reflects the work that we need to do with our dogs. And that is the concept of how we judge our success. In our case, for us dog lovers, it's how we judge our success with our dogs. And quite often, if we are feeling discouraged, if we are feeling like, oh, we're just not getting anywhere, we are comparing our success to an ideal, to this idea of what we want, this futuristic thing that hasn't even happened yet, but this is an ideal that we have. Like, we want the dog to do whatever it is. And we're comparing this particular moment to an ideal that hasn't happened yet. And one of the things that I really want you to start to do, and I want you to do it now, because we talked about the goals, and don't get me wrong, I want you to have a goal. I want you to have something that we're working towards. I don't want you to go, oh, we just did this goal setting, and then crumple up your paper and throw it out. It's not what I want. I still want you to have the goals. I still want you to have the dream goal of what it is that you want, because we need to know what we're working towards. But when we are looking at where we are right now in this moment, I don't want you to compare it to where you want to be, because that will always set you up for disappointment. You will constantly be striving to get to some place that you haven't even achieved yet. So instead, here's what I want you to do today. I want you to write down where you are right now. I want you to get a piece of paper out, or use the same piece of paper that you used for the goal setting. And I want you to flip that page over, whatever you need to do. And I want you to write where we are right now. Date it, December 30th, January 1st, whenever you hear this, date it, where we are today. And I want you to I want you to be honest. Like, here's where we are today. Like, I can't get out the door without the dog pulling me down the steps. I can't have guests over without my dog barking incessantly for 35 minutes, like whatever it is. And I actually want you, if you have a barker and you're like, I want you to time it. I want you to start timing it. Start timing it right now. Be like, how long did she actually bark for? Oh, she barked for 35 minutes straight. And I want you to write that down. And the reason why I want you to write that down is because 1 month from now, 2 months from now, 6 months from now, you're going to have a setback. You're going to have a setback. This is life. We're going to have setbacks. But when you have that setback, when you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my dog lost her mind, or he went bananas at the mailman again, I want you to look back at where you were today when you wrote this note. I want you to look back at that and go, oh man, I forgot. She used to bark for 30 minutes straight, or he used to pull me out the door. he didn't pull me out the door today. Like, I need you to do this so that you are only comparing your progress from where you started, not from where you want to be. Okay, because again, if we compare to where we want to be, we will always be disappointed and we will fail to see the successes. And I will tell you, if you keep this piece of paper, we'll do this again next year, December 30th or whatever, the end of the year, next year, we're going to do it again. If you keep that piece of paper and you pull it out, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, look how far we've come. And when you can do that, when you can actually take a moment to see how far you've come, you're going to revel in that success rather than get pulled down by your perceived failure, which wasn't a failure. It was merely a setback. And what do we do with setbacks? We always say, how interesting that happened. Okay. So will you promise me that you will take some time to do that right now? Even if it hurts a little bit, even if right now by writing it out, you're like, oh my gosh, it took her 35 minutes to stop barking. Or, oh my gosh, he pulled me for the first 28 minutes of this walk. Or, he reacted 17 times today on the walk. Whatever it is, try to get concrete sort of things like, how long did it take for your dog to settle down? How long did it take for your dog to stop barking? How long did it take for your dog to stop pulling you? Write those things down. How many dogs did he react to? Write them down. This is where we are right now. And you're not going to necessarily look at this every day. You're going to look at it on those days when you have a setback, when you come home and you're feeling defeated because the dog pulled you off your feet or the dog reacted to what seemingly was a lot of dogs. You're going to pull out this piece of paper then, and you're going to look back and go, oh my, look how far we've come. I've told the story of Levi before in earlier episodes. That's the word I was looking for, in earlier episodes. And I mentioned this idea that it appeared to us that he got dramatically better, like overnight. Like one day we were like, did you notice that Levi isn't reacting to people anymore? Like he went right up to a person. And it obviously wasn't overnight. It really wasn't overnight. And we weren't keeping that track. We weren't keeping, close track of it, but it appeared like it was overnight. But I'm sure if I had taken the time to actually look back and see those milestones for what they were when they happened, I probably would have been amazed how far we've come within that journey. So setbacks are normal. They're going to happen. The way we get over it is we do our comparison to where we were. Never compare to an ideal. You can't sit there and go, oh gosh, look at those dogs that can sit at a cafe. Wouldn't that be nice if I could go to a cafe? Because you're going to look at your dog with disappointment and then you're not showing up for your dog. I hope that you take some time to think about how far you've come, how far your dog has come in the past year. Really prime yourself for this next year. It is going to be amazing. And I am so grateful that I get to share that journey with you. As always, I want you to get out there today and be the person that your dog thinks you are, because your dog thinks that you're amazing, and so do I. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next episode. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is meant for entertainment and education purposes only and is not meant to replace hands-on professional training. If you're really struggling with your dog, please reach out to a professional in your area. Okay, I think that's it. Bye for now.